So students, we are going to start part 6 of the chapter 1 constitution. In this we have discussed the rest of the topics, and today we have to discuss the inheritance of nationalist movement. So what do we mean by inheritance of nationalist movement? Here all of you have already gone through the things. All of you have an idea that the constitution was not the product of the Constituent Assembly only. It was not there that the Constituent Assembly had made the provisions without giving the public reason. Without giving public reason for any of the provision, no provision was included in the Constitution of India. We have already gone through the procedures, so we have seen all these things. Now, question arises, from where our constitution makers had an idea of all these things. See, all of us know that the national movement took place. Nationalism arose India during the British period in 18th and 19th century. We have already studied all these in standard times. So what happened during the national movement, during the nationalist movement? all of us all of us and Indians especially, okay, Indians had gone through the things that the British adopted the policy of racial discrimination, which was not good for India, and India was suffered from this. They adopted the policy of discriminating between blacks and white. Okay, so Indians made the efforts when they were making the constitution. They worked mainly on all these things, that any kind of discrimination should not exist in the society, in the country. So that's why they made the special provisions regarding discrimination, as they made the untouchability a punishable offense. They kept the categories of the different exploitation under the fundamental rights against exploitation. Okay, so all these were inherited by the nationalist movement, because the Indians had seen that if the British discriminated among them, how much did they suffer? They suffered a lot. It was quite painful for them. So they made the provisions for the minorities also. They made the provisions for each and every section of the society, and from each and every section of the society, the person represented deliberated in the Constituent Assembly. Okay. So here we could say the Constitution was not the product of assembly only. Constitution, you will frame your points. Constitution, in short, I'm writing the CONST. Constitution was not product of Constituent Assembly only. In short, again, I'm writing the CONST. I hope all of you will get it. Of assembly only. Okay. It means if the makers of the constitution, or if the members of the Constituent Assembly wanted to include any provision, so this was not as per their wish only. They had to give the public reason for this. Public reason in detail we have discussed in our previous videos. Okay, so they were supposed to give the public reason if they wanted to include any kind of provision in the constitution for anybody. It was not on their will. It was not based on the voting. It was based on the consensus only. Okay. So we could say that it was based only on the consensus. Again and again we are using one word. This is consensus. Constituent Assembly worked on consensus only. It did not work on the voting. Okay, it did not work out on the voting only. They did not believe in voting. That how many people are agreed with the specific provision? Please say yes. Who are not, who are disagreed? they will say no, they will vote for no. So this was not the procedure. They worked on the consensus and public reason. By the public reason, they created the consensus, and then any provision was included, and any provision was made in the Constitution of India. Okay. Now next we come. So they worked on the objective resolution. One word we always see in the framing of the Constitution, that the Constitution was framed on the basis of objective resolution. What was this objective resolution? After the Constituent Assembly has been elected, the members were elected, then on 13th December 1946, you can keep remember, I'll write it by oblique. It was 13th December 1946. Our honorable Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru ji, he just addressed the Constituent Assembly, and he presented one document. What was this document? This document consisted of the aims of the assembly. He just gave a brief idea. He just gave the principles to the Constituent Assembly that our constitution should be based on all these things. This is known as the objective resolution, or we could say, what is the objective resolution? So this is the resolution that defines the objective or the aims, defines aim of the assembly. Okay, कि what aim, on what objective assembly will work out, on what basis the constitution will be framed. It means the members of the assembly were supposed to take care of all these principles, mainly in the constitution. Now here I'll just give you the brief, then I'll just read out all the provisions of the objective resolution, and these are in your NCERT book. I'm just giving you the page number 20. We have already shared the each chapter with you. Please go through through this once. I'll read it here also. In brief, the aim of the objective resolution, the base was expression. It emphasized on the expression to the fundamental commitments. Whatsoever the commitments, fundamental commitment means during the nationalist movement, whatsoever the fundamental commitments were made to the people of India, to the people of the country, we must have an expression to all those fundamental commitments. This is the basis of the objective resolution. Second base was most important, that our constitution must contain the provisions, especially equality, because we have already suffered of the racial discrimination, equality, liberty, democracy, sovereignty. Very good. Sovereignty. Well done, beta. Sovereignty. Okay. So these must be the basis. Both these principles were the basis of the objective resolution. Okay. And in detail, we'll go through them one by one. All of you just tell me right now a recent example. We are going through the racial discrimination? Anyone can point out, please? Anyone can tell me?
Ma'am, in America, there's protest by the people on the White House, the Parliament of America, because
Okay.
there's going discrimination is going like the people blacks are angry there.
Okay, they are the especially American Africans. Okay,
Yes.
they, so this is the race American Africans, and every time we could see the incidences in America which takes place on the basis of racial discrimination. They have adopted a slogan. Okay, what was the slogan? What was the expression when George Floyd? Everyone is aware of the George Floyd. He was
Yes,
the
ma'am.
person,
We
African
can breathe.
American. He is George Floyd. So
Floyd.
what was he saying? I can't breathe,
Can't
man.
breathe.
Man, I can't breathe. Okay. The same incident has taken place in 2014. I don't remember the name of the person. Perhaps it was, if I'm not wrong, Mark Arkan karke kuch tha. Okay. I don't remember right now, but I'll just let you know. In 2014, same kind of incidents took place in the USA, and at that time also methods were same, and that person was also saying before he was dead that I can't breathe, man, please, I can't breathe. Okay, so this it has been adopted by them. Later on we'll discuss it in detail when we'll come on the chapter. In political science, always keep up plenty of examples in your hand. Okay, whenever you have to write down your answer, you can give the examples from the contemporary world also, from the contemporary situations also, circumstances. It's not mandatory that you are supposed to give only the traditional examples. Okay, if you feel that this example I can fit in my answers, please, you are feel free to give your answer in your own way. Okay, so just go through the contemporary situations also. Getting it? Later on, we'll discuss this in detail. Now we come back on a chapter, otherwise it will not be completed even today. Okay. So equality, liberty, democracy, and sovereignty. So Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru emphasized, he just addressed the Constituent Assembly at that time, and he presented the document, in fact, under the title of Objective Resolution, and he emphasized that the Constituent Assembly must take care of these basic principles especially. Now we'll go through the main points of the objective resolutions one by one. I'm just reading it out. Listen it attentively. And we have shared the e-chapter of from NCERT. All of you can note it down from there also. Number one, India is an independent sovereign republic. Secondly, India shall be a union of erstwhile British Indian territories, Indian states, and other parts outside British India and Indian states as are willing to be a part of the union. Territories, number three, territories forming the union shall be autonomous units and exercise all powers and functions of the government and administration except those assigned to or vested in the union. Number four, all powers and authority of sovereign and independent India and its constitution shall flow from the people. People will be the supreme. Next, all people of India shall be guaranteed and secured social, economic, and political justice, equality of status and opportunities, and equality before law, and faith, worship, vocation, association, action subject to law, and public morality. Next, the minorities, backward and tribal areas, depressed and other backward classes shall be provided adequate safeguards. The territorial integrity of the Republic and its sovereign rights on land, sea, and air shall be maintained according to justice and law of civilized nations. The land would make full and willing contribution to the promotion of world peace and welfare of the mankind. Okay, so all these are the main points of the objective resolution. All of you will have to remember this. These are important for the students of political science. Okay, and out of all these points, these are the very much basics which we have discussed here. So in all the points we could see that it emphasizes on the expression to the fundamental commitments made to the people, and secondly it emphasized to work on the principles of equality, liberty, democracy and sovereignty. Okay, so why all these were made the provisions, why all these were made the basic principles of our objective resolution? The reason was a nationalist movement. Whatsoever the rules and procedures were included in the Constitution of India, all these were the promises which the national movement or the nationalist movement had promised with that of the people, that if we get independence, we'll make, we will work out on all these things. These were the commitment, because all of you could see the members who represented in the national movement, maximum leaders were associated with that of the nationalist movement of India. Getting it? So they were making the efforts to keep up the promises which they made to the people before getting independence, before getting freedom. So we could say that constitution mm, constitution would be equal to number one, rules and procedures. Rules and procedures, and it was clubbed with promises that nationalist movement promises, sorry, promises that nationalist movement had made to people. Got the point? So we could see, okay, constitution was not the product of the constituent assembly. The consensus always played an important role in framing the constitution. It was based on the long struggle for freedom, and the principles were inherited from the nationalist movement. And like this, we got a concrete constitution for India. Got it, everyone? Any problem? Now we come on the next topic, the institutional arrangements. I'm going to clear this. Now we'll start the next topic. Next is institutional arrangements. Institutional arrangement. I hope that this word is not very new to you all. This terminology is not very new. All of you have studied this a lot, even in your 10th standard. Power sharing, federalism, all of you might have studied here. So what was the institutional arrangements which were provided by the Constituent Assembly or by the makers of our constitution? Actually, they tried to maintain a balance. We could say a balanced arrangements. They tried to make the balanced arrangements. What do we mean by balanced arrangements? Anyone can explain, please?
Balanced arrangements means the power doesn't carry in a single institution. It should be equally divided among the different institutions of the government, between
Yes.
legislative, executive, and judiciary.
Lest no one should be an autocratic in one's own approaches. Okay, so
Yeah.
just to create a balance between the different organs of the government and between the different federations of the union. Okay, so these are known as the balanced arrangements of institutes institutes of government. Now, this balanced approach was adopted through the two kinds of ways. What were these? Number one, which is known as parliamentary, we could say. Parliamentary, or what do we call this? You discuss the two kinds of power sharing, two kinds of arrangements. All of you discuss in power sharing in standard 10.
Ma'am,
Let's see.
federalism.
Federalism, that was the another one. Parliament form, or we could say horizontal. You discussed, you studied horizontal
ma'am.
power sharing. Okay, in
Yes,
the
ma'am.
horizontal power sharing or in the parliamentary form of government, the power was distributed between the three organs of the government. Three organs of government. What are these three organs of the government? These are number one,
Executive, legislative,
yes, legislature,
and judiciary.
legislature, then
Executive.
Executives,
legislature, and then executives,
then judiciary.
then judiciary.
Judiciary.
Very good. So the functioning of these three organs of the government is clearly demarcated in the constitution. But the main function of the legislature to frame the laws, to frame the rules and regulations. Okay. Executives, what is the main function of executives? To enforce the laws. Okay. And judiciary, to punish them who are not following the rules and regulations or who are not following the laws. Okay, so like this, the functioning of all these three organs of the government has been demarcated by the constitution. So this is known as the parliamentary form of power sharing or horizontal form of power sharing. Next form of power sharing is known as, what is that?
Vertical. Ma'am, vertical form of power sharing.
Vertical form
Very
of power
good. It
sharing.
is called as the federal or vertical power sharing. In this, we could see that the power has been distributed between the different federations of the union.
Three
Because
tiers.
in the constitution, it has been written that India shall be the federation of the federations of the union. India will be distributed among the different federations, federating unit. Okay, so federal or vertical form of power sharing. In this, we could see that the powers were divided between the central government.
Center, state, and
Very good.
center, state,
Central,
and the local self government.
central, state, and they have expanded all these to local self government by the amendments.
Decentralization.
73rd and 74th amendment will discuss in detail in the last chapters. It's very important. In 1990,
Decentralization.
yes, decentralization. Very good. Sorry, I have written local amendment, local government. Okay, so it is known as the federal or vertical form of power sharing. Got it? And to demarcate the functioning of the central, state, and local governments, they have created one more thing. They have created a different list. Okay, what it is called on the subjects of which list only the central government can frame the laws. What is that list?
Union list. Union list.
Very good. Union list. How many subjects are there in union list? All of you just find out.
International
70,
affairs, national affairs.
70 to 75.
No, wrong. Better just find out and work out on this. How many subjects are there in the union list? How many subjects are there in the state list? State list, and third list is there in the combined form.
Concurrent list.
Yes, concurrent list. What
Ma'am, in union list there are 59
98.
subjects.
In union list, only 59 subjects are there. And how many subjects are
98.
there in the state list? Better just work out, please. Okay.
Ma'am, 98 are there in the union list.
Yes, that's why that's why I'm asking you again and again. Please work out. Okay, just work out. Don't be in a hurry. You must keep remember, because this is one marker for you. How many
Ma'am,
subjects are there union list?
59
And
subjects are in state list.
59 subjects. And in the concurrent list,
Ma'am, no
just
idea.
find out. Listen, just find out how many subjects are there in all the three lists. Okay, and just share in the group later on. You can share in the group. What's the importance of the union list?
Ma'am, 52 concurrent list.
Yes, union list. What's the importance of the
98.
union list?
Ma'am,
Union list
union
has
deals with the
It deals with the
interest of the whole
communication.
nation.
very good. Union list consists of the subjects which are of national importance to the country. Okay, and state list which should be
In the
important from
governance
the
of
point
state
of view of
only.
state. And concurrent list, any one of them can frame the laws. Getting it?
Yes.
Got the point? So like this, the federal or vertical provisions, vertical power sharing has been made in the Constitution of India. All of you have to one more homework. You have to write down the subjects of the union list, subjects of the state list, and the subjects of the concurrent list. This is in your NCERT book also, but all of you just work out. Let's see. Okay. And after this we come on. Next we come. This is okay. Chapter is completed. Now we come on the last chapter. The provisions adopted from constitution of different countries. I am going to erase this. This is next topic is provisions adopted from constitutions, or we could say the provisions borrowed provisions adopted from, in short I'm writing CONST, from constitution in short I'm writing this beta, okay? Constitution of different countries. In short I've written this DIFF, different countries. Yes, let's see how many all of you keep remember. I'll just give you the name of the country. All of you have to speak out. Let's see who gives the answer first. Number one, what we have borrowed from the British Constitution?
Ma'am, first past the post system, parliamentary
Very good.
system, rule
Let
of
me
law,
write down
role
number
of
one. First pass. In short, I'm writing this FPTP. I hope all of you are aware. Yes, sure.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Second was
Parliamentary system,
very good. Parliamentary form of government we have adopted from British government only. Parliamentary form. In short, I'm writing this only parliamentary form of government. All of you have to write down the points. Third,
rule of law,
yes, very good. Idea of rule of law. All these will discuss in fundamental rights when we'll talk. Idea. In short, I'm writing this rule of law. Idea, rule of rule of law. Next.
role of a speaker,
Very good. Active role of speaker. We have taken from the British Constitution only. Speaker's role. In short, I'm writing this speaker's role. Got it? And lawmaking
lawmaking
procedures.
procedure,
Very good. E.
and
Lawmaking.
citizenship also.
Yes. Lawmaking procedures. All these will discuss. We have the chapters, different
And
chapters based.
citizenship.
And next, the
Citizenship.
provisions regarding citizenship. Next we come. Next is second. We'll take Irish Constitution. What we have borrowed from Irish Constitution? From
Ma'am, directive principle of a
Directive
state
principle of
very
policy.
good.
policy.
Second, Irish. In short, I'll
Elected
write
head of a
this.
state.
Yes, very good. Irish Constitution. In short, I'm writing CONS, and we have borrowed on the DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policies. Third, we
An
come
elected head of a state.
from Irish Constitution only,
DPSP.
DPSP, and third we come on. Third is,
French Constitution.
yes, French Constitution we can take. From French Constitution, we have borrowed very important thing. The basis of a
Liberty,
constitution.
equality,
Principle of
fraternity.
liberty, equality, and fraternity.
Very good. From French Constitution, we have taken
Principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity.
in short, I'm writing equality. Okay, all of you can add on principles. Equality, liberty, and fraternity. Liberty and fraternity. Got it? I'll just bring it from here. Liberty and fraternity. Now next we come on USA, the Constitution of USA, what we have adopted.
Ma'am, fundamental
Charter of
rights,
Fundamental rights.
judicial review, and
judicial
preamble.
review.
Very good.
And
Fundamental
preamble.
rights, the provisions for the fundamental rights, judicial review, and the independence of the
Preamble.
judiciary. All these we have taken from the USA only. And next is number 5. Number 5 was Canadian Constitution.
Canadian
Constitution of
Constitution.
Canada.
Ma'am, federal system.
Quasi-federal form of
Federal
government.
system and residuary powers.
Very good. All these will discuss. Canadian Constitution, a quasi-federal form of government, federal system with a strong central government. Also, we have adopted from the Constitution of Canada, and the idea of residual powers. All these important provisions we have adopted from the constitution of the different countries, but all these was not on the basis for us that this is the provision for the USA, so we must adapt to this. We were not compelled for all these things. All of us know the framers of our constitution, the members of the Constituent Assembly always emphasized on the public reason first. Okay, before we adopted all these provisions, we had to create a consensus, and the members of the Constituent Assembly had to give the public reason for that, which we have discussed in the previous videos already. Okay, then we adopted all these provisions if we find them suitable with that of the arrangements, with that of the circumstances of a country only. We did not adopt all these provisions blindly. Okay, we worked on that. We created a consensus. Then we could introduce them in the Constitution of India. So the chapter is completed. Today we'll share this video also, and we'll send you some PDFs, NCERT solutions. Okay, all of you have to attempt each and every question from the NCERT. You have not to leave even a single question from there. Either this is the passage based or this is the application based. Rest of the questions I'll send you in the form of worksheet, and you have to submit the work by 10th of June on Google Classroom. Okay, I'll send all these work assignments on Google Classroom only. Got it? You can collect it from there. And each chapter we have already shared on Google Classroom also, and on WhatsApp also. Got it? Next we'll start the rights. Okay? Okay, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, beta.
Yes,
Bye
ma'am.
bye. See you. God bless you.